Next item on the agenda, Nicole Edwards, Health Services Indicator Report. Welcome.
Thank you. You guys hear me okay? All right, give her time to share the presentation here. So yeah, I'm Nicole Edwards. I am the new district nurse for ISD 318. So this is my first year with the school district. So I'm here to give the Health Services Indicator Report. So I'm going to start with our connection to our strategic directions. So how does health services connect to our strategic directions? School health services play an integral role in the health of students by addressing social determinants of health, provides essential care, and helps to maintain the health and well-being of children, which assists in facilitating optimal development and in increasing support for academic success. So you may ask, what are health services? So what do the school nurses do and provide? So school nurses help to manage daily health office visits, educate students on managing their own health and wellness, manage students with chronic health conditions, for example, diabetes, seizures, administer specialized services such as tube feedings, tracheostomy cares, help manage insulin pumps, and medications as prescribed. They also provide first aid cares and emergency cares to students and staff. Continuing on here, nurses also conduct health screenings and make referrals for vision and hearing, maintain and manage student health records, verify school required immunizations, ensuring compliance with state laws and regulations, create individualized health plans by collaborating with parents, teachers, and providers, and monitor and prevent the spread of communicable diseases. So we do currently have 10 full-time positions, including 6 registered nurses, 3 licensed practical nurses, and then myself as the LSN. And then I did list the nurses individually on the side there. So students impacted by the health department, total number of students enrolled. This may change from month to month, but when I last asked, it was 3,936. This number encompasses also the homeschool population, the ALC, Itascan Education Center, early childhood programs, St. Joe's and Lighthouse Christian Academy, along with our Quest transition program. So with that in mind, managing the daily health needs of students, I did compile a little pie chart here of the amount of health office visit history as of 4/9/25 for each school. So you can see there, middle school and high school are probably our highest schools with health office needs and visits. And I think I attribute that just to the age, especially the middle school, the teenage age, hormones, etc. So, and then managing chronic health conditions. I also broke these up into a pie chart for your review there. The most chronically managed health conditions are asthma, food allergies, insect sting bites, EpiPens, diabetes, and seizure disorders. We also do the health screenings and referrals as mentioned. Please note that we only screen at the elementary levels, and then 7th graders, 9th graders, and students on an IEP. So with vision screenings, we completed 3,525 vision screenings this year. 397 of those were referred to their eye care provider. And then I have to mention that the Lions Club assists us with completing vision screenings, which we are very thankful for. And as far as hearing screenings, we completed 2,427 hearing screenings this year, and 134 students were referred for further evaluation. Providing first aid and emergency care. So school nurses' responsibilities extend beyond just the management of health office visits. They also act as first responders, providing urgent care when needed in coordination with emergency services as needed. Medical emergencies that may be seen in the health offices include asthma attacks, allergic reactions, seizures, injuries ranging from fractures to concussions, cardiac events, and diabetic emergencies. And then to mention, all school nurses are BLS trained and certified. Nurses administer daily prescribed medications to students to assist in managing student health conditions. And as of 4/29 this year, the schools have administered 9,978 prescribed meds. We can also administer over-the-counter medications such as Tylenol, ibuprofen, Tums, cough drops with parental consent. School nurses monitor and prevent the spread of communicable diseases. And some of the key ways of doing that include practicing good hand hygiene, disinfecting health offices, promoting vaccinations, providing education on disease prevention, immunizations, and hand hygiene, monitor and report outbreaks in a timely fashion, along with observing and having awareness of disease symptoms. School nurses also act as teachers in the sense that they do provide health education in promoting student well-being, which in turn helps to promote classroom attendance and advance student academic success. Health education ranges from individualized one-on-one teaching, from educating students about managing their chronic conditions, infection control measures such as hand hygiene, covering your cough, to creating healthy habits. And also, education extends beyond just the student, but nurses also provide education to staff as well as families. Mental health support. Nurses play an important role in supporting students' mental health needs, as they oftentimes serve as the primary frontline resource in identifying mental health needs and assist to bridge the gap to early interventions and referrals. The rate of mental health needs in schools has grown significantly over the course of the years, with the most commonly seen conditions being anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and behavioral issues. Nurses work closely and collaboratively with the school counselors to assist students with managing their mental health needs. So you may ask, how is health services funded? So nursing expenses are coded to general fund and special education fund depending on their task. The complete monthly time and effort of their duties and their costs are allocated based on their activity. So it could vary from day to day for each school nurse, depending on what walks through the door and what sorts of tasks they complete that day. So program successes. Interdisciplinary collaboration. The nurses come together in times of need to assist one another in getting duties covered, as well as working closely with our counselors, teachers, and paras to assist in ensuring the health and safety of our students. Breakthroughs. Seeing students come in on a regular basis and getting to the root of the problem of why, and decreasing their visits to help keep students in class are a success. Community collaboration. Working with other entities in the community helps enforce our strategic directions in building partnership. For example, as earlier mentioned, the Lions Club coming in to help assist us in completing our vision screenings. We work also with Itasca County Public Health. They come in and provide influenza immunization clinics every fall. Campus North, the students there, nursing students, help us in completing hearing and vision screenings, along with they do come in and job shadow nurses. And we have a partner contract, non-monetary, with Grand Itasca for standing orders for medication and consultation as needed. In trainings, we have implemented consistent procedures for nursing tasks across the district and provide annual and ongoing training to ensure staff have the information they need to be successful in their role. Program challenges. We have seen an increase in students requiring support for chronic disease management throughout the district. Lack of substitute school nurses is another, and we have seen turnover with nurses Seeing an increase in mental health needs in students, significant responsibilities. It's more than just putting a Band-Aid on a scraped knee. School nursing requires triage, prioritizing time efficiently to get other duties completed, assessing situations to see if further care is needed, acting as a liaison between teachers and parents in collaboration with others to help bridge gaps to other services that may be needed. The emotional toll. The broad range of issues that you may see with students can be emotionally taxing. Oftentimes, nurses are the first set of eyes and ears of a student's concerns, whether that be neglect or abuse, and it can be emotionally and mentally challenging. So, in summary, many consider school nurses the hidden healthcare system for vulnerable youth. They are the eyes and the ears of the school community, serving as an integral part of the school system. They serve a multifaceted role, wearing many hats as not only being a school nurse, but also a counselor, educator, and caregiver. They respond to daily challenges with dedication, compassion, and care, and it shines through in what they do. And I just have to say that I find this meeting comes at good time as it is National Nurses Week. So I feel honored to work with such wonderful nurses here in the district. So, do you guys have any questions?
David?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nicole, thank you for a very thorough report, very interesting, very engaging, and congratulations to you and the nurses you work with. It's a great honor for us to have this level of competence in our community. I note that the Lions Club is working with the Vision. Is there a need for someone to work with the auditory?
We do have school audiologists, but all of us nurses complete the first level of hearing screenings.
Okay.
And if a student fails the first time, we do a rescreen. And if that student fails a second time, then we do contact the parent guardian,
Okay.
and ask if we could refer to the school
So
audiologist.
basically, you're covered in that regard.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. That was my
Yes.
question.
Mhm.
And congratulations to you and your staff.
Thank you.
I guess I have some questions. I noticed on the one graph that you had up there, you commented that the middle schools and the high schools tend to have the higher frequency of visits. Big Fork was a pretty good chunk of that pie, and it was, I think that was probably shown as a conglomerate of the whole Big Fork school, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Does that ratio kind of stay true in Big Fork if you were to look at that versus, have you ever broken it down further to high school versus middle school versus elementary there?
In Big Fork?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of curious.
Yep. It's pretty
Pretty
much.
much same kind of ratio that you're seeing there, even though
Yeah.
that
Yep.
it's summed on that chart as
Yes.
a sum.
Yep.
Also, in regards to, we provide this now through to outsource this to other, well, to homeschool, I think was mentioned, and also the other schools in town. I'm
Yeah.
assuming we're able to bill on a basis for that, or how is that handled?
Yeah. So like I said, a lot of billing comes from general ed nursing fund and then special services. So, and it really varies from nurse to nurse, school to school.
But we
And that
are able to,
encompasses,
we are able to code that and keep track of that and
Right.
bill for those services
yes.
to whomever that
Yep.
it's appropriate.
Yep. Homeschool. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Lighthouse.
A big part of what we do for homeschool and private schools it's special education evaluation that they're the largest part of. And we're obligated to incur those expenses, but they do get coded to special ed state aid.
Yeah, so they come through special ed most often rather than the general fund,
Yeah,
it sounds like.
We have some proportionate share responsibilities, and we pay for some kind of Joe's nurse for that requirement.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's another federal requirement.
okay.
Yep.
And then, sorry, you mentioned chronic problems
Mhm.
increasing, right? As one of the bullet points. Is that, do we see that being mental health type things or mental things or physical also, I guess? And I'm not sure, excuse my terminology,
No, yeah.
correct me if I'm using an incorrect terminology,
Mhm.
but I'm trying to understand, are we seeing it kind of across the board, the chronic things, or are they skewed one towards maybe a more problematic symptom or?
Yeah, mental health is more across the board. I
Okay.
mean, from elementary to high school, across the board there. And then chronic health conditions, it just depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Hmm.
Melissa?
Well, Tom took a whole bunch of my questions. No. Actually, I do have a little bit of a question in that what happens then with our online schools? I know, would we cover those costs as well?
Yep, if
No,
they're
general.
an enrolled student of ours, we would take care of that.
Would that be like a Zoom call or something
Could be.
like it? Okay. I was just curious about that. And then I did note on the one slide, similar to Tom's question, where there was like elementary and middle school and high school, but it looked like if I actually consolidated all the elementaries together, they were pretty close. Like, because
Yeah.
Cohasset and East
Hmm.
and West, like if I look at the smaller grades, if I
Yeah.
crush them, they look pretty similar to the middle school and high school. Is that true?
Yes. Hmm.
And then just one more question I have, and only because I've seen it come across in the legislature, is the AED requirements that are coming down. Do we have an AED in all of our schools?
Yeah, we
We do.
have an
We
AED
already
at
do?
each of our schools. Some have multiple.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just wondering,
yeah.
because there is some funding that will be coming. So if there's any that need to be replaced, just a thought on that.
I'll just add a little bit about, as I've been asked about that legislation, and I think the spirit of the legislation is good. Being able to respond to cardiac incidents well is good. Having AEDs in buildings is good. And we have that now. The problem with the legislation, as I see it, is that it would require a cardiac response team in every school. It would require that training for all those people to happen within 30 days of the start of the school year. So, and there's one more requirement too, that it's like requirement. And it's one more thing for
That's essentially
Nicole
what
to
the-
keep track of, when we already have AEDs sitting there, and they're meant to be and built to be pretty self-explanatory as far as how they are used. So I guess that's the part of that legislation that I get concerned about, and it's difficult to talk about because it sounds like, or it can be construed that for some reason we'd be against, being able to respond well to cardiac incidents. Of course, that's not it. It's just requirement again.
Is that where that funding that Melissa is talking about essentially would go to is? Okay,
The way the legislation is written, it's strictly for the AEDs because a lot of schools, they don't have them. As someone who experienced the loss of a young man in middle school who died on a basketball court, whose family is pretty close and was a Grand Rapids student.
Yep.
It's hard not to support that.
Right.
And if people need to be trained, because a lot of people freeze when they get into situations like that, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think too, the ongoing costs of it, they're not one-time costs. Batteries,
Mhm.
pads have to be replaced. Like, those are the things that I don't think get thought through when good ideas are kind of like this are brought forward. So I think that's really important.
Just curious, but thank you for all the really good work. I know that it does feel like you're invisible sometimes. You look at what you do and feeding tubes, and
Yeah.
people don't have any really, it's not a sniffle and you get, or a headache, and
Yeah.
that might be a lot, but that's not all of it. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I should add too about AED, all the nurses are CPR certified, BLS certified, but we do have first responders at each of our schools too. So we do have a team at each school. So I think that's good to note as well.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, no
That
problem.
was great.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I did think of one more
Happy
thing.
1
quick.
year. Oh.
One more question that I had forgotten about, and I apologize. You had mentioned the referrals, and if I remember right, the hearing was around 10%, or vision was around 10%, if I remember right, and hearing was a little lower. Do we have any statistics? Do we ever get feedback as far as if there was actual action taken after the referrals on that, or any percentages of corrective action was taken
Yeah.
later?
Yeah, sorry, I don't have any percentages.
Okay.
But the nurses do try to follow up on that so kids don't, fall
Yeah.
through the cracks with
Okay.
that health need.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So thank you. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having
Yeah.
me. Have a
Yeah.
good night.
Ryan, would you be okay if we moved you up on the agenda? You bet. Thanks.
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. My name is Ryan Sigley, and I am the proud principal of Cohasset Elementary. Last time I was here was earlier in the year. It was in the fall, and I talked a little bit about the changes that have happened at Cohasset from last year to this year. And just as a refresher, I obviously a new principal with me coming in. We have brand new office staff with a new student support specialist, a new secretary. We have had half of our grade level teams were new teams, so new staff coming in as teams. We had new ESPs, some new kitchen staff, and so we have had a lot of change in our school. And I'm very proud to say that our school has done well with that change and adapted and been flexible and worked extremely hard to see outcomes that we're seeing both academically and within our students' social lives and emotional lives. And so, anyways, I'm very proud of our staff. One of the things that we have talked about all year is trying to do common things uncommonly well. And we've kind of been hanging our hat on that. And I'm really proud of our team for just answering the call. So when there's an expectation that is set, they live to that expectation, and a lot of times they exceed the expectation. I think that the culture, if you spent some time in that building, you would feel it. It's the people in there, and I'm not just talking about our teachers. I'm talking about our whole staff have this belief in team, this belief that it's about the kids. It's kids first, and there's really a pride in the school. And so when you talk to people that work there, you'll hear that from them and their enthusiasm of the things that they have going on in the school. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, so I don't want to forget to add my thanks to our teachers. Having taught at the middle school and been a principal at East and taught at West, I've had an opportunity to work with some incredible teachers, and I can't say enough of the great work that people are doing. And I know it's noticed, and I know it's recognized. And I'm just so proud to be a part of that group. In terms of equitable education, one of our goals at Cohasset this year was to try to reduce variability among classrooms. And one of the ways that we did that was increasing fidelity of implementation in two areas. One was Witten Wisdom, and the other was Orton Gillingham. And in both of those areas, myself as the principal would set a goal for our staff, and they would know what the expectation was in terms of instruction. And then I would do a walkthrough and collect data on their work. and then present that data to our leadership team. And we'd talk about instruction and the kinds of adaptations that we need to make, the strengths that I'm seeing. And I've seen a lot of growth, and I've also seen a lot of variability among our classrooms reduce, which is something that we want. We want kids, no matter what teacher they have, to have a great experience. And I'm seeing that in those two areas. I'm excited about the growth that's happened, and I look forward to next year, particularly in Wit and Wisdom. I know we've put a lot of hard work into implementing that curriculum and implementing it well. And so I'm really excited to see where we go with this, and particularly the academic outcomes that will come with it. Very excited. With that, we just are kind of finishing up our MCA season. We've had our 3rd through 5th graders testing. 3rd and 4th grade, they tested in reading and in math, and they just finished with that. This last week, our 5th grade finished with testing in science. So 5th grade is a little bit different. They do reading, math, and science. And so we're all done with that. Our kids did great. They set goals and worked to try to achieve those goals. And so I'm very excited to see what those results are. We do have some on-demand reports that come in, so we have a kind of idea, kind of more at the school level of how things are going. But publicly, that data is going to come out later in the year, and it'll be really, really interesting to see where we go with it. Right now, we have universal screening happening. So every grade in our school, kindergarten through 5th, will participate in universal screening. We're essentially have students being assessed to see where they're at, and we measure their growth from fall to winter to spring. And so we had our kindergartners were just working on some early reading screening today to see where they're at. And we use that data to help make adjustments and inform what we have going on in our school. So I'm, very optimistic about the outcomes there too. And I was just telling Mrs. Adams, who's part of our ADSYS team, I was telling her today that this afternoon I kept hitting refresh to see how our students were coming in as she was assessing them in real time. And so we have one classroom that I know is done that I've been just, really excited about, with more to come over the course of the next couple of weeks. Our hope is that we have 100% of our students screened, so then we can provide the appropriate tier 1 and tier 2 support that our students need, and also help move them into a tier 3 position if those students need that extra support. In terms of evidence-based practices, we are getting so close to finishing Carry All, and I cannot wait to celebrate with our teachers when we finish this thing. The amount of hard work and effort that has been put in is it's second to none. It's something that I haven't been a part of in my professional career. Aside from the work that happens, one of the things that I have been really impressed with is the amount of collaboration and team effort. And it's been, even though it's been a challenge, that challenge I really believe has been a good thing. It's helped us develop our understanding in the science of reading. But it's also brought our staff together to having one common challenge that we're working through together. And it's been a really interesting way for us to develop our collective efficacy. Partnerships, one of the highlights this year was our School of Excellence celebration. And that didn't happen too long ago. And if you had an opportunity to see any pictures from that event, it was incredibly special. It's something that I feel very blessed to be a part of. The whole thing was student led. And so we had kids up in the front. They emceed the thing. They ran the music. They did it all. And I just couldn't be more proud of the kids. There was a moment where we had our 5th graders standing up in the front playing the ukulele, and then the 315 other students stood in the audience, and they all sang this song called Count on Me. in the gym, it was just, the song was echoing. It was a goosebumps moment, and one that I will never forget. It's in a top 5 memories for me in my career. I'm very proud of the school having achieved something like the School of Excellence. It's a lot of work that's put into to apply for an award like that. But it's not just the application, it's all the work that comes before it. It's the building blocks that teachers and support staff have put in place over the course of years to receive an honor like that. So being a fly on the wall and just kind of sitting in the back and enjoying it was a really proud moment for me. Outside of that, we don't have a whole lot of school left, but we're keeping the foot on the gas pedal. That was our conversation in our staff meeting today. We're not done. We're done when that last bell rings, and that's when we can take a breath, and that's when we want our students to relax for a little bit too. But until then, we've got a mission, and we are going to continue working towards that mission. So, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to thank you very much, Principal Siegley, for all of the work that you've done this year as your first year here in Cohasset, and to continue on with making sure that that school keeps its amazing title as it has. I didn't get to see the ceremony, but I've heard nothing but wonderful things about it, and I just want to thank you and your staff for putting in the effort that you do. We appreciate everything that happens there in Cohasset, and just to keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Tom?
I've got questions. I always do, I guess, but I apologize. Obviously the wit and wisdom I've heard plenty about, but you mentioned the Orton Gillingham. I guess I'm not real familiar with what exactly is that program, or could you explain it a little bit to me, what it encompasses, I guess?
Yep.
'Cause
Orton Gillingham is something that our teachers have been trained to do, and over the last few years, that's been a goal for our kindergarten through 2nd grade teachers. And it's really about the foundations of reading and helping our students learn how to become readers. So really at the primary ages of elementary school, they're learning how to read. And then when they get a little bit older, our goal is that they're reading to learn. And so if you ever want to tag along during a walkthrough, I can talk through kind of the things that our teachers are doing, but it's very explicit instruction in terms of how to read.
Okay.
Mhm.
No, well, that helps a little bit. At least I know it's about reading, right?
Yeah, and you'll hear a lot about that. That's a best practice strategy, evidence-based, that is really done in all of our classrooms across Grand Rapids area schools. And so it has been a focus, particularly this year, has been a focus for our principal group to get into classrooms to make sure that that's done with fidelity to help our student outcomes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Okay,
You're doing a great job there.
thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
At this time, we're going to adjourn the workshop, and we'll come back into session for the regular board meeting in just a couple minutes.
Still trying to learn my language.
Sure. Questions, Tom, I'm glad that you asked those.
I don't remember hearing them. Yeah.
You know,
just
might have heard
remember
OG.
hearing
Griffin was
Have you
one.
heard
Maybe
them say OG ever?
First grade?
Maybe
Something like
that's-
that.
I don't know. I
Because he
just
went
So
don't
that's what
remember.
Orton Gillingham
Right,
is
which was
when they're
best
talking
bet.
about it. It's the OG
And it
training,
was-
but it's still,
and I was fun
but
to
those
do
are,
some-
I
You know,
really,
now that you said it there,
But
remember.
that's, you know, he went
I
on the
appreciate
brain.
all the questions that you
Yeah.
ask, because people don't know these things,
Well,
right?
on the
And
board.
so you're asking really good questions for the community to also hear. So it's really, I always appreciate you asking those questions, so.
Let me know when you're ready, Julie.
Yeah.
We're ready? We'll call the school board meeting into session.
Agreed.
Am I-
Not us.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just acknowledgement that Dave Cohen is attending remotely, and so all votes will be roll call votes tonight. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the 4/14/25 work session. Do I have a motion?
So moved, David.
Moved by David, second.
Second.
Second by Ashley. Discussion? Hearing none. Julie, can we have a roll call?
Yes, Melissa Barr,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
and Mark Schroeder.
Yes.
And Mr. Chair, could we also go back and just approve the agenda?
Sure.
Thank you.
Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, David.
Moved by David.
Second.
Second,
Melissa.
second, Melissa. Discussion? Do we have a roll call vote, Julie?
Thank you. David Marty,
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
Mark Schroeder,
Yes.
and Melissa Barr.
Yes.
Thank you.
The agenda's approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the 4/22/25 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley, a second.
Second, David.
Second, David. Discussion? Hearing none. Julie, can we have a roll call?
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
Mark Schroeder.
Yes. Minutes of the 4/22/25 regular meeting are approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve a resolution to accept donation and gifts for January, February, March in the amounts of January, $10,807.47, February, $200, March, $19,858.92. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley. Do I have a second?
Second, with appreciation to the community.
Second by David. Discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just have one question or actually a request. Would it be possible, just for knowledge sake, when we are approving these, to look at the comparison from the prior year, just to see what that looks like as we move forward? Is that something that Kara can put together and bring to these meetings?
Yeah, I think we should be able to do that. We'll talk to Kara and have her do that for us.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, Julie?
Sure. Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
Mark Schroeder,
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
and Dave Cowan.
Yes.
Resolution to accept donations is approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve the consent agenda. Reminder that consent agenda consists of routine matters and they do not require discussion. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Julie, can we have a roll call?
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
Mark Schroeder,
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
and Ashley Goodman.
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda, approve a one-year lease agreement with the City of Grand Rapids for the Bob Streeter Baseball Field and Grand Rapids Sports Complex. Superintendent Gross, do you want to handle that?
Yes, this is a lease agreement consistent with one that we've had with the city previously. I think Kara listed in the administrative report, the history of the lease amount reflects a 3% increase over last year, which is consistent with what we've seen with the city for the arena, which is another facility that we lease from the city. We have the ability to levy, and we do levy for the portion of leases that are aside from operational costs. So we can levy for about 87% of the cost of the lease. The rest is paid out of the general fund.
Do I have a motion to approve the 1-year lease?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley, second.
Second, David.
Second, David. Discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask a couple of questions.
Yep.
So I had sent an email and asked Kara to share a little bit more as I looked through the lease agreement, just to understand a little bit more about what our total engagement looks like from a lease standpoint with the city of Grand Rapids, knowing that we also lease a few other facilities as well as with Cohasset. So I don't know if Kara, if you have that information that you can share. If I assume Kara's there, I can't see it.
She's not, she's ill.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Matt, do you have that?
Yeah, what particularly are you asking about?
Just what does our total spend look like with the city of Grand Rapids for leasing the facilities?
With the city, the lease for the arena is 178 or 188,000 approximately. And then the lease that you see here, those are the two leases we have with the city for facilities.
And with that, so we can levy for both the arena and the fields, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
So I just want to just ask the question, just to get this out in the ether here is, so the city of Grand Rapids, a public entity, leases a facility like this to us, a taxpayer funded entity being the city of Grand Rapids, leases a facility to us. We then pay for that lease. But in order to pay for that lease, 87% of those funds are then put onto the taxpayers through a levy, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody understands how that works, so that it's not all coming out of our general fund, but it's also put to the taxpayers through a levy, which just being new to this world, again, just wanted to ask these questions to make sure we all understand how this is, how the funds are going through the different institutions or agencies to pay for these facilities. So that's all I had.
Any other
Mr.
discussion, Melissa?
Mr. Chair. So when I first came on, I had very similar questions to what Dave asked. And when I dug into it, it was more about maintenance of facilities than it was about paying for the facility. So it was more about like the ice, the Zambonis and the staffing, and the same with like the soccer fields and baseball fields. They require a lot of maintenance. And some of them daily, and some of them, when we first got into it, were pretty messy. When we built East, there was some stuff that happened with the soccer field. Just so folks also know, like, it's not really about paying necessarily for the building, but actually covering the maintenance and usage costs of us using that facility. So that would be the only thing I would add.
Any other discussion or questions? We have a motion and a second. Julie, can we have a roll call?
Mark Schroeder,
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
and Tom Gustafson.
Yes.
The 1-year lease agreement with the city of Grand Rapids is approved. Next item on the agenda is board reports. Owen, why don't we start with you?
Okay. I don't have a whole lot. It's kind of been slow at the high school. IB testing started, so everything's kind of calming down for a couple weeks. They have the spring band concert that's going on right now. Actually, it starts at about 15 minutes. Prom was this Saturday. It actually went pretty well. And I just want to shout out Zen, Flossie, and Kessinen, and all the students who helped put that on. We spent 8 hours on Friday setting up Grand March, so that was a big team effort. And then a couple weeks ago, Kayla Jenkins put on the second annual Prom with Purpose. That was ran by student council as well, so that was a huge success at Co-House for a sensory-friendly prom for special needs students in our district. Well, IASC in general. And then last thing, the Ronald McDonald Pop Tap fundraiser has been going on for the past 3 months. The last total was 2 weeks ago, and it was 106,000 Pop Taps. And I think it ended last week. So the final count should be coming out soon. And then student council members are going to Duluth in a couple weeks to just help with the Ronald McDonald House Foundation. So just kind of cap off the whole fundraiser. But yeah, that's all I got.
Thanks, Owen. Dave, do you want to go next?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. On April 24th, we attended our first community engagement subcommittee meeting that I think went really well and had some good information shared and some direction. And I'm sure we'll hear more from Matt as we get into his report. Later that day was a kindergarten roundup. And while I thought I was going to just kind of wander around and shake hands and kiss babies, I was running the Future Thunderhawk booth for kids that were excited to be a future Thunderhawk, and it was endearing to see the parents realize the year that their kids would be graduating, which is kind of fun. On 425, I was able to stop by Prom with a Purpose, what an incredible event put on by incredible kids and staff. I can't say enough about what that means to our community. On 426, volunteered at the Children's Fair, and just a shout out to the whole team, Melanie DeBay and the entire team that's been running that for these years. Very well attended. It was packed, which was great to see all the kids and hand out lunches. And then just this last Friday, attended Student of the Month again, which is also a great event. So thank you for all those.
Thank you. Superintendent Gross, do you want to go next?
I'd love to. That'd be great. While Julie's pulling up the strategy team update, I just got a couple slides on that. Just wanted to let the board know and the community through the online internet sphere that we've got some information going out to our retirees this week on the rates, and also to talk about the OPEB piece and reassure them that there's no talk about eliminating benefits at all. That's never been part of our conversation. This is just about how do we, in the most economical way, continue to provide benefits for people. So that letter is going to go out this week. And then on the 29th at 6 p.m., we're going to host a meeting here for retirees. So that information will go out in the letter too. Quickly on the strategy team, and then I'm going to get to this band concert. So this is the flow of how we work through our strategic directions and our operational plan, our strategy team. Which is to improve outcomes for students through action steps aligned to those strategic directions. That's why our team exists. This is who sits around that table. We have some people in the teachers unit as well as the principals unit, also at the director level. Anna, what you saw her here earlier, one of her many roles, she facilitates that group, those meetings. She does an excellent job of setting up effective agendas. And so we have a real well-balanced team that thinks about our operational plan or strategic directions. We start with stakeholder feedback. We just actually got feedback last week at most buildings about early outs, and we're going to be using that in a reflection as we plan for this next year. But we go from that feedback all the way around to goals and planning, and then monitoring. Those early outs are kind of our key lever right now for development. It's not perfect. The time is short, but they've become more and more effective over time. These goals, I shared these in December, but it's fun to listen to Ryan talk about, and I'll send this out to you, but to talk about things, wit and wisdom, fidelity, OG fidelity, walkthroughs, all those came out of the strategy team's plan. Those were all goals in here. So you can see the fourth one down there, or fifth one down. It's about wit and wisdom. There's one on there about OG. That's the bottom one. So the testing, the MCA testing that we're doing right now around fidelity, making sure that our procedures are tight, that came right out of our strategy team work. So this is where plans are made, things get done, and we make progress on our goals. So these were our goals last year. Again, I'll send this out. For this next year, we're narrowing down or reducing the number. Each one of these has many objectives in it. One of them has to do with curriculum, ELA, math, science, making sure we're on target there. The second one is about reducing failures, improving our safety nets. Goal 3 is about increasing cultural fluency, being responsive in our district. The fourth one is about our online program and how we're ramping that up. And the last one is a continuation of the work we leaned into this year in Archer's explicit instruction book. What are those practices that we're going to lean into as a district? So that's kind of the quick and dirty update there. On progress, we're coming up with our new plan now, finalizing those goals. We'll have another update with you or for you before the school year starts, where we can see those fleshed out. But we're in that goal setting, and then the next step after that is how do we design our entire early out cycle for next year based on the attainment of those objectives. So it feels good. We're planning, 8-9 months out now with our early outs and our professional development instead of, what's happening next week. So we're in a really good place that way. That's it, Julie. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay. You'll see this.
Ashley?
Get 'em.
Check the trombone.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I just wanted to take just a brief second to recognize not just our educators, but all of our support staff as well, and everybody in between that helps keep all of these children going on a day-to-day basis, and also, admin as well. Thank you to all of them, and a shout out to our gems. They're getting a El Pocho catered lunch this week as well. So bring your Tupperware and make sure that you get your leftovers. And the board is also invited as well to go and get yourself something to eat. Also, again, a shout out to our staff. On Earth Day, we had a handful of teachers, and then even through that week, that took some time out to just go around our high school and middle school and elementary schools, and took some students out and took the time to just educate our students on why it's important to clean up after ourselves, get our kids accountable on their garbage and pick up after themselves. And, it's nice to keep things clean. So that was a nice thing to see. We had our post prom. So shout out to Mr. Jim Cagle and crew. That was on Saturday from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. Jim and crew set up an awesome event after prom for all of the kids to just go hang out, have a good time. They had raffles and prizes, and it always seems to just be such an awesome and fun event for these kids to just go hang out afterwards and just have a really good time. So I appreciate Mr. Cagle for all of the effort that he put into that. And Prom with a Purpose. Thank you. Special shout out to our IASC staff as well as our student council. That was such an amazing experience to be a part of and see those children go and have an amazing time at their prom. They got to do their grand march. They 3 Months Sun Photography came out and took pictures for our students, and those pictures came out so amazing. It was such a good time to see all those kids having just a blast and dancing, and it was a really awesome thing to see. So thank you very much to all the staff that put that on. That was wonderful. And the student council, thank you very much. Children's Fair participated in that as well. If I'm not mistaken, Melanie DeBay had mentioned that there were over 800 bagged lunches that our food service staff had put together. So thank you very, very much for our food service staff for bagging all of those up. And we actually gave every single one of those away. So that was really nice to be able to give to our community members. And then one final thing real quick here, our Grand Rapids FFA is having their annual plant sale. It is the 15th annual plant sale. It is going on May 12th through the 14th. It starts at 3:30 to 5 o'clock. It's $2 per plant, $20 per hanging basket, and all proceeds go towards the FFA. That will be in our tech wing in the agricultural class, and they have all sorts of plants. I mean, from vegetables to flowers to fruits to all sorts of things, and you can bring cash or check. And I highly encourage you all to go, because otherwise I will buy everything. Thank you.
David?
excuse me. Well, Dave and Ashley covered just about everything that I did. The kindergarten roundup, Prom of the Purpose, the Student of the Month Club. They were great events. And an additional visit with the endowment committee and with the Boys and Girls Club.
Busy this time of year.
Yes, isn't it?
Tom, what do you have?
Well, last week went with Ashley, Matt, and Julie. We attended some training, which was very helpful there in Brainerd area there. And then this week we've got a lot of stuff going on, right? I'm going to go up to Big Fork Wednesday there, plan on, and we've got the steering committee coming up at the end of the month, and we also have a facilities steering committee coming up here that I'll be participating in. So that's all I have.
Good. Melissa?
I talked a little bit about this in our workshop, but we had a work session for IASK, which was actually the first work session IASK has ever had.
Wow.
Because we now have a full board. I mean, we've come a really long way since I got on the board as far as kind of putting structure to IASK, and I don't think I give Jackie enough credit. Jackie and Darla and Scott, they just have, and Chris Larson have just done really, really well at kind of creating a container for IASK and being able to talk about it in a way that people could understand what it does for each individual district. And so part of that work session was really to talk about the majority of districts in the collaborative are going through cuts, which for a lot of them is the first time in a while. And so because it's a collaborative, sometimes it's kind of the first thing to get cut, right? Because it's not in classroom, in the district. And so just having a conversation around what possible cuts do districts are they thinking about, and how does that actually impact what we deliver in IASK? Because at some point, if enough districts pull out, we won't be able to provide the services. And that was the first time, and I don't think a lot of people had really thought about that until we really could sit down and have the conversation. But to flip it, it wasn't all bad either, because for some folks who said, maybe I need to cut music, or it was an opportunity, I think, for districts to also work offline to see if they could partner together to fill some of those gaps locally. And so we talked about our online offerings for next year. And that was an opportunity to say, we need to bring those kids back in. And these are kids who want to be online for various reasons. And so it was for us to say, we're not going after your children. We want to bring back the children that we've lost over the last few years. And so that's really our goal with the online school. And so it was a good conversation, but understanding we are all impacted by each other's decisions in this collaborative environment, especially in rural. We do this to survive and to be able to offer things to our kids. And so just recognizing that, I think, was a great conversation. And I think we'll have it annually, whether or not it's a cutting time or a building time. I think it's important to have those conversations. So just for folks.
Most of the things I've participated in have been mentioned here. Children's Fair, which was a great event. Shout out to Melanie DeBay for the tremendous amount of work she did for that. I also participated in the Community Engagement Subcommittee. I was at the Civic Center Advisory Committee meeting this week, kind of looking at how that Civic Center is used by the city and how it impacts us as a school district. The one other thing I did this week, I participated in the Meet and Confer, which is one of the important meetings we have during the year. Reminder that upcoming school board committee meeting dates are posted on each agenda. School board meeting agendas can be found on the district website and at the designated posting sites of the ISD 318 Educational Services Center. Is there any other business to come before the board? David?
Mr. Chair, final note, it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and as a board, we've all forwarded an acknowledgement to all the teachers in the district. We so appreciate the work that's being done.
Thank you.
Sure, thanks, David. And it's nursing week too, which I didn't know.
Either. So thank you to all of our nurses as well, because in the elementary schools, nobody wants to be the person that has to help that poor tiny human with the bucket in front of their face. And we make those nurses do a lot of things. So I really appreciate all of those nurses and the support staff there. So thank you very much. Yes. Mhm.
Julia, has anyone signed up for public input?
They have not.
They have not. Meeting's adjourned.
Before